Gavin Newsom started his own podcast. It got 81,000 views, by the way. No motion whatsoever. The Democrats kept asking the question, like, who's the Joe Rogan of the left? And then instead of hearing my answer to it, which was, you can't podcast your way out of this problem, they decided, oh, shut the f up. We just need to be the Joe Rogan of the left ourselves. And that in and of itself is incredibly frustrating. But there was also a lot that he said in this conversation that he had with Charlie Kirk that was even more frustrating. It was actually what he said, the concessions that he made, that was very frustrating. I know a lot of liberals cherish Gavin Newsom. This is like very much this is very much for the Midas Touch fan base, I would say, that they think that he's like a clever, charismatic man who will one day lead the Democratic Party back to its glory, restore its former glory, and win so much that they'll say, Mr. Gavin Newsom, sir, Mr. President, sir, you are winning too hard. We don't want this much winning. Now, the solution to the Democratic Party's crisis right now is not to flood the market with more social media. The solution to the Democratic Party's problem right now is to change its policies and address the real material harm that people are experiencing every single day. Recognize the hurt, showcase the ways in which the Republicans are not helping people. So for someone like myself, this is endlessly frustrating to watch because I know what must be done and I see this and I recognize that Dems are just like unable to read the room and do what's right. They think they can message their way out of this. They think if they have more charismatic podcasts and podcasters, or if the elected representatives themselves become the podcasters, that this will be fine. This will be enough. That's not going to happen. It's very, very frustrating to watch.
He's like, no, Dad, what time? What time's Charlie going to be here? What time? And I'm like, dude, you're in school tomorrow. He's 13. He's like, no. This morning, wakes up at 6 something. He's like, I'm coming. I'm like, he literally would not leave the house.
Did you let him take off school?
No, he.
Also, an open admission that your 13-year-old is a major Charlie Kirk fan is literally an abdication of responsibility as a parent. You have failed as a parent, Gavin Newsom. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? The man sitting across from you with the tiniest face of all time on the relatively sizable dome is literally anti-MLK, anti-civil rights. Like, he's everything. He is everything bad, okay? Trapped in one weird conservative body. And you're like, yeah, my 13-year-old loves your content.
You are making a damn dent.
Thank you. I'm kidding.
No, but I know, but I appreciate that. I mean, it's the reason you're here, because I think people need to understand your success, your influence, what you've been up to, and the fact that you're on these college campus tours.
I feel like I'm losing my fucking mind. The fact that he's glazing Charlie Kirk is insane. I will say this. I responded to his tweet. I know his comms team saw it, saying like I would go on. Having said that, I think legitimately that Gavin Newsom is happier having his 13-year-old watch this fucking incel content, okay, than his 13-year-old getting radicalized by someone like myself. And I think that is at the heart of the problem within the Democratic Party. These people would rather have their children advocate for the most insane right-wing positions than to go outside of the permissible boundaries of neoliberalism. You can go as far right as you want, but God forbid you actually end up on the left. God forbid you outflank the Democrats.
I mean, you're sort of born and bred with an ideological mindset, or were you more open-minded and you started to realize a lot of BS was out there?
Yeah, I've always been conservative. Obviously grown in that over the last, 10-ish years. Was more libertarian, I'd say, in the first couple of years.
Right. Never forget that Charlie Kirk was an anti-Trump Republican on Fox News initially and very quickly turned around and has been an unstoppable glazer.
That's completely ignored. And your side was basically not acknowledging what was happening, right, was the crisis that young people were experiencing.
Right.
That, it's the first time in America's history that a 30-year-old is going to have it worse off than their parents.
Right.
It's a breakdown of the social compact.
I despise Republican political operatives. I would categorize someone like Theo Vaughn or Bradley Martin in an entirely different spectrum. Okay, on the political spectrum, they're somewhere very different. They open up the funnel and they have the broadest audiences, and it's important to go to where they're at and communicate with them and have a charitable back and forth. But a guy like Charlie Kirk is a party machine guy. He is a party propagandist. He's not interested in having a normal back and forth. He does not have a well-defined worldview. He does not. He just will always defend whatever the party position is. Okay? So when someone like Gavin Newsom chooses to have him on and basically seemingly agree with him throughout this entire process, this is a deliberate attempt by the likes of Gavin to actually say, the direction I'm heading in, the direction that Gavin Newsom is heading in for 2028 when he runs for office eventually is going to be this weird neoliberal, but like kind of right-wing adjacent on social policy position. And that in and of itself would absolutely cause, unless the Republican Party collapses in its entirety, which is very likely, would cause for the Democrats to lose again. Charlie Kirk was writing articles for his high school newspaper about how he did not get into West Point because a black woman that didn't deserve that point, that didn't deserve that appointment, that didn't deserve that seat, got it instead of him because of affirmative action. That was his article. It got so popular, Breitbart published it. Then he went on Fox News. Then he took the newfound fame that he saw from Fox News, because they immediately blast you, if you're young, into orbit and make you a conservative commentator. Okay. Conservatives love that. When they love having like dumbass children running around being like, I love whatever, this and that. I hate DEI. Like, that's literally what it was going on for fucking Charlie Kirk. Like, he was the dumbass child who wrote an article that went on Breitbart, that went on Fox News, and then they turned around. They turned around and he took that newfound fame and took it back to his father's friend, Foster Friess, who was a major right-wing donor to the Republican cause back then, on high school and college campuses for the student body governments. These are places where woke exists. We are going to single-handedly change the political ideologies and the ideological leanings of these institutions. That's what he said. That was Turning Point USA. Now, of course, he achieved zero success in this. I can't stress this enough. Zero. He did not actually end up getting any impact whatsoever. He very famously did the diaper incident. If you remember, a lot of some of these chapters were like wearing diapers to talk about safe spaces and how shitty safe spaces were, how lame they were, whatever, all this stuff. But basically, for Charlie, his entire operation was trying to convince elderly Republican mega donors that he actually was having an impact amongst the youth. Now, the only thing that has changed since then is that now right-wing commentary does have a noticeable impact amongst the youth, and the only way that he was able to arrive at that was through TikTok. This is the first time in Charlie Kirk's career where he actually has motion amongst the youth. Part of that is because of Andrew Tate and the likes of Andrew Tate and the likes all these like whatever podcast style podcasts, the men's rights movement online. Okay, all of that stuff created an ample ground for volatile youths to feel a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose and become actively more reactionary. So that's it. That is the reason why he does actually have motion amongst the youth for the first time ever. But for his entire career, he basically lied to old people to tell them, like, give me some money and I'll make the youths more right-wing, which never really worked. There has been an active pendulum swing in terms of like youth politics in this country, and I think that spells disorder and devastation for the future. But, you know, that is where we're at.